We can do that. Thank you. Yes, we are recording. All right. Thank you all for coming tonight to talk about the rules. I know that there is probably plenty of questions from everyone in regards to them, and I do appreciate everyone's patience so far with us as we transitioned from Azure over to AWS with the few hiccups that we've had. But for those that are unaware of who I am, other than my name obviously showing up in several emails, my name's Amanda Thiel. I am and I guess I'll have to figure that transcription there as it's terrible. I am the CyberForce competition director, and I send a lot of the emails out here in regards to everything. So if you need something, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help as much as I can. I apologize if sometimes it feels like I'm getting a little snippy. I do get probably about 100+ emails an hour in regards to these times. So I'm just trying to answer everything and ensure I don't forget. Today's fireside chat is to go over rules and hopefully answer any questions or clarify things for everyone. I'm not going to go over everything line by line because, obviously you all are adults and hopefully you can read, and I don't want to go through 18 pages. But I do want to kind of go over some of the key items in there, especially for those that may have participated in years past, and highlight some of the changes. And then also know that tomorrow night, same time, not necessarily same link, but same location on Teams, they will be having a fireside chat for the C-suite video and security documentation. If you have questions in regards to that, I'm obviously happy to answer any of those questions today that I can, but if you have like nitty-gritty questions, they can answer those tomorrow for you. So with that, I'm going to share my screen here with you all. And I apologize if I look like I'm not staring at you all when I do this though. So hopefully everyone got this document. If you haven't, again, at this point, please make sure you email the CyberForce competition@anl.gov or have one of your teammates kindly share the box folder with you. But that probably likely means you didn't really get a lot of anything from me. But this document is our, overview rules and scoring. So in this, you'll see it's a kind of a fairly long, dense document, which I understand no one wants to have to read all of this. But honestly, it will ideally answer 90% of your questions. And so I know that I've had 3 updates to it, but that was because I did take the questions that have come in either via email or Discord, and I tried to update them in the rules to clarify. So hopefully most of you understood the overview. I don't want to have to go through all of that, so please don't get confused or get sick on me here. Discord. I'm hoping everyone's on Discord at this point. I did email a few schools letting you know that I haven't seen people on. Discord is really mandatory this year if you want a red team score minimally. And obviously for those of you that have utilized it, the help desk feature is on there as well. Instead of having multiple different platforms, we're utilizing Discord. So, and unfortunately, it's not just one link for everyone. I have to send out a link per team. So if your team transitions someone out, please let us know so we can make sure we send the appropriate team link to them. So then your network topology is a /27 this go around. I know that's not anything particularly special, but just so you're aware when you're making your security documentation that you outline that. Hopefully everyone has been very, very clear when I tell you to look and you download your VPN when you do the Open VPN, that you go to those community downloads. I know there's the GUI client, and then there's this really ugly looking client that sits in the bottom tray for Windows users. We want that ugly one on the bottom tray is what you want to utilize. It's the easiest one. It causes less network traffic issues. The GUI one happens to typically fail a couple times, and then it figures out the routing. I'm not certain what they don't have, but maybe we can double check that all. It looks like you said they only have the GUI. We can double check. So then everyone hopefully should have gotten your AWS creds. I'm sorry that some of those had issues. We did fix some of the formatting and AWS, because we didn't require the two-factor authentication due to the fact that they're not associated with anyone's emails. They're requiring those like massively long passwords. So I do apologize for that, but we are keeping people regularly monitoring your help desk tickets in the event that you do forget your password or it has an issue. Scoreboard creds you will receive this week. Those will be slightly different and not as complex as your AWS ones, but that is where you'll input and upload any of your security docs, your C-suite link, your scored services you'll be able to input in, and that's where you'll be able to, on the day of the competition, input any of your anomaly answers and whatnot. In the event, again, I'll just highlight this because we've had to do it so far already. In the event that you damage any of your infrastructure beyond completion and you yourself do not want to try to figure out how to fix it, and you need us on the white team to do that, it is 150 point per VM restoration. So to avoid that, we encourage you all to do a snapshot. Again, we know that that's not always 100% foolproof, but in the event you did a snapshot after you've already messed around with it, just understand that that is in there. I will run through that in just a minute, so no, I have not forgotten your question. So really quickly, I'll just go through key rules here. So each of you have gotten access to your AWS environments. So security documentation and C-suite panel, they are due on Halloween. So happy Halloween, trick or treat, by noon on Pacific time. So that means if you are, and I got to do my math here, that's 1 p.m. in Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And those are the only time zones that I know. That's when they're due into the scoreboard. So whatever time zone you're in, everything is due by noon Pacific time. In the event that you need more time, you're welcome to do so. There is a slight submission penalty. That's 25% of your earned score. So that's not 25% off the top. It's whatever you earned minus 25% of it. And you can turn it in up to November 2nd at noon Pacific time. So again, it's by noon. Just to understand why we altered that for those that have been a part of this, instead of we used to do it at midnight. We are going to be announcing winners on Saturday, November 5th, when we are doing our in-person. So whether you're virtual or in person, we will have the live winners announced after the competition. So we need everything in. We need plenty of time. There's 169 teams. It's more than we've ever had. So we need plenty of time to make sure that we provide everyone with as much accurate time to review everything. And yes, everything will be done on Twitch for the announcement. So then with that, your infrastructure that you get, there's a traditional side and there is an assumed breach side. Very simply put, assumed breach, look at, document what's in there, but don't touch it. Not my choice, but that is how Red Team's handling their stuff. So if you've done stuff in years past, you understand what the assumed breach is. Red Team will communicate with you via Discord on what they'd like to see done. You do it, you get points. You can get hints if you don't know how to handle that particular issue, but typically they'll go through things such as, we have see a vulnerability XYZ, how would you patch that? Can you patch it? Show us a screenshot that you've patched it, and there you go. You're not getting points for having a vulnerability in your assumed breach boxes ahead of time. Red team's not looking to exploit it. They're actually helping you to figure out how could you go about fixing it. The traditional boxes, on the other hand, are the ones that you do want to secure. So you're going to have to look at it from two different ways. One set of boxes are set up so that we can help you look at more complex vulnerabilities, and the other set are set up so that you find those vulnerabilities, fix them, or figure out a way to harden your systems so that those that would actually regularly be external pen testing wouldn't be able to find them and actually penetrate your boxes in a normal environment. So traditional boxes, go in there, make those changes however you feel make most sense based on the rules, which means open source, free to use, assumed breach, look at, document, put that all in the security documentation, but don't actually make changes to the box. So if you find a rogue user in them, feel free to document it, but don't remove the rogue user. Again, understand the reason why we put some of these rules in place is just so everyone gets a fair playing ground. I understand some of them don't make sense because you wouldn't likely be using a free or open source software when you get to someplace, but it's really just to provide everyone a level playing field. And at any point in time you feel like, another team is not playing by the rules, if you feel like a red team member is actually doing something that they shouldn't be, or whatever the case is, any communications that you have with us on the white team, which is mostly the national labs, you'll see us in the Discord, obviously anywhere, your communications with us are confidential. So if you have an issue, feel free to reach out to us. Any of the updates to the rules you'll find on this kind of rules and guides tab. But to answer the question that came up earlier, which is, what exactly have been the updates? So the biggest updates is I clearly called out, and we'll move that down here. I specifically called out what were the traditional boxes and what were the assumed breach boxes. So we called out specifically, obviously earlier, what the assumed breach boxes were. There was a slight update to the IP addresses when we actually cloned all of the machines out. So the IPs are 70s, 76, 77, 75 versus 6, 7, and 5. So that wouldn't change for any of you all since you didn't actually have your machines at the time you got the first look. But the traditional machines, I included an update so everyone knew what's in there. Largely otherwise, the only other thing that's not ideally put in here yet, but you can all see it, is that an optional box is not really optional if you want green team points at the end of the day, but you get the option of what flavor you would like to make that. So that's really your largest changes to scoring. So quickly in the do's and the do nots. Oh, so sorry, I see your question here. So 79 optional VM and scope for red team. It is not. So points. So your 79 VM is honestly just meant to be your communication platform for green team scoring. So it's going to ultimately be kind of a quality assurance of can you follow the directions outlined in the document that's provided in Discord, and it's also been uploaded into the box folder. So red team won't be looking at it for any vulnerabilities. They're going to be looking at the assumed breach in the traditional boxes. And then just being very clear, and that's totally fine, Heather, that is correct. Don't start touching your assumed breach boxes. The red team will tell you when they want you to look at a particular box during that time. And that's when you'll want to start working through on that. So to be very, very clear on that, they'll say, however they go about it, they'll say, like issue number 1, we see vulnerability X, how would you fix that? And then you go back and you can say that. Assume breach works one at a time. So you can obviously go at your pace. The longer you take, the less assumed breach attacks you can go through. There's 10 of them. I believe they give a max of 1 hour per attack. So if you do take an hour for each attack, you'd only get through 8 of them. But in the event that you go less than that, you can go. But you can't have more than 1 attack going at a time, or an attack chain going on at a time. So then the question, do we need to create our own website that's connected to an FTP server and database and AD server? That is correct. So you can either utilize what is already on the traditional servers that are available to you, or our traditional infrastructure, or you can build out your own if you would like. So that's entirely your call if you feel comfortable or not. So then, Robert, yes, you do need to create a website for this. The template for the green team is on there. I guess you shouldn't, you don't have to, but that is 15% of the grade for it. So just know we've built out all the services already for you. So ultimately, this is really the end result, is you just have to build this website for yourself. Andrew, can we skip a red team question? Yes, you can tell them that you are choosing to skip a question. So when you go through their assumed breach questions, and they provide it to you, you can just say that, you choose not to go with that challenge, and they'll move forward. I believe all of them are worth the same amount of points. They do offer hints, which obviously takes some points off, but you are more than welcome to just opt out of that particular question. With the assumed breach boxes, from my understanding, we're going to be integrating them with the traditional boxes. Will we be integrating Active Directories? I don't believe that you'll be integrating the Active Directories into the traditional boxes. So I don't think that's necessary for you to have to do that. So Paige, are you being graded by red team? So I guess in essence, yes, it's part of your scoring is yes, you're being graded by red team, but I think you need to look at less as being graded as, and there's 2 different scoring elements. One is there's a score based on have you secured your infrastructure, and there's 2 VMs in there that have you taken, there's a certain number of vulnerabilities, and I won't state that number, that are already in there. That have you found them? Have you removed them? And have you secured your VMs to the best of your ability? And sometimes that's yes. Sometimes you'll find when we run what we need to that you found 90% of them and you're still missing something, so you can go scavenger hunting to find more. The other portion of red is, again, still it's just the flop of that. Instead of you going and finding them ahead of time, they're in there, and the plan is for you to learn and walk yourself through, like, why did you do that? And rather than kind of doing it in an educational exercise of like, well, I just updated, the OS. It's kind of walking you through well, why would you do that for this particular system? To kind of get you to think through holistically on, we're also talking about operational technology. So upgrading an operational system isn't always the answer that we can give. So hopefully that answered your answer. Should the website run on .79 box? Yes, it should, David. Also, to what degree can our mentors assist us in the competition? Is it just the students? Students are the only ones that can compete on the competition day. Mentors are there to provide you guidance, help with questions and whatnot leading up to, but on day of competition, mentors are just there to be your best pals, but not really do anything else. Do security groups in AWS count as software? Yes, they do. So nothing inherent in AWS can be utilized. That was the other thing I was going to mention, is that there is no inherent AWS security software that can be utilized. The goal of this is not to utilize AWS as a means for your security. It was the same when we used Azure. Please don't utilize their inherent software. Again, unlikely that many of these organizations are going to be utilizing a lot of their stuff in AWS or Azure. The goal is for you all to think outside of the box. So that's what we're looking for, is what can you do to secure some of this that is not out there now? And I know that seems like a large task, but what else can you do? It says to include the Vita Vehiculum logo. Yes, that's a very weird name. You can design that logo to however you would like. It doesn't have to be anything special. You could literally use this. Okay, wrong way, Amanda. You can use this shield if you wanted. You can make a vehicle, whatever it is. The only caveat into that is do not, under any circumstances, put anything for your university in that logo or anything on that website. Please remember that we have mentors, moms, dads, sisters, brothers, grandmas, whoever, helping to do green team and whatnot. So we want to make sure that university, and I don't want to use the word paraphernalia, but all your stuff is not showing, so there's no bias. So please be sure that any logos or names, that includes security documentation, and that also includes your C-suite. Just continue to use your team number as a means for communication. And when you make your logos and whatnot, just keep up with the organization name. Are we allowed to install monitoring or logging agents on the assumed breach box? Yes, that is an okay item. So, and I do believe I put that in Discord, but I will clarify. You can install a monitoring agent on your assumed breach box if that will help you understand what is going on there, so you can follow the trail. But that's to the extent that they want, that they are okay with it. But understand, if you install something and something breaks, that's on you to fix, or if the attack chain that they're looking to complete is broken, then you don't get the points for it. So it's kind of on a risk base here. Are we allowed to do things like forwarding syslogs on the assumed breach devices? You are more than welcome to forward any kind of logs that you'd like from your assumed breach devices over to someplace else if you would like. So for the Active Directory and email messages for Green Team, do we need to actually use AD in email, or can we roll our own alternatives? I mean, I guess you could use something alternatively. I mean, the goal is technically to learn to do the AD and email, but it's all within that website. So whatever makes most sense, as long as they're able to send an email and as long as they're able to send an email and utilize the AD infrastructure within, or I guess it's not necessarily AD, but at least as long as that information that's in there is working. So if you can do that via your database, then I guess that'll work. How many green team members are assigned to each blue team? That's up in the air. People throughout the entire day will be testing your website. So I can't say that like, hey, right now there's like 5, and it's only at, the first hour of the day. There will be randomly people testing throughout the day. So, the whole point is to keep it up and running and working throughout the day. For all you know, you could have 10 people test in the first hour, and then you have like a 2-hour gap, and then you have one person again, and then another 20 over the next 4 hours. So it just kind of depends on the wave of people. So until the day of competition, we just need to do the video and security action. All the security stuff is done on the day of competition. No, kind of, sort of. So I'll clarify this again. So yes, you should do your C-suite documentation or your C-suite video, your security documentation. But traditional infrastructure, go in, find the vulnerabilities, and fix them. You're also more than welcome, as I mentioned before, to input any of the monitoring agents if you'd like on your assumed breach side. But ultimately, right now you want to make sure you have your services up and running. And then you also want to build out your green team website. So you want to, ultimately when you come Friday, set up Friday if you're there in person, or on Friday check-in, you want to be ready to go. Saturday morning when we actually start, you want to be hands-on keyboard ready to start communicating with Red, to be able to start your anomalies and all that stuff, rather than, okay, now I need to fix this problem on my traditional box, or, okay, now I'm going to build my website. We're giving you that benefit to do that ahead of time, so that when scores start rolling in and you say, well, why is Green Team giving me 0 points? You can start to comb through comments to hopefully figure out what the problem is, so that at the end of the day, you can say, oh my gosh, my Active Directory is not working, or the login that I have is, the password's messed up, or whatever the case is. So that way you can fix it, so that you can get those points back. So we do not see our instances in AWS. Please make sure that you're checking that your AWS is in Ohio East. If you're still not seeing it, I would suggest putting in a help desk ticket. But that's usually fixed the issue for most people. Thank you very much. How many of you trying to send to our team? I think, again, I answered that for most people. Just to confirm, we're allowed to install monitoring on the breach. Yes. Thank you. Green Team website should be a static page, templates, or dynamic. It can be a static page. There's a few pages that are required. So when you click on it, you'll have to go to like a different page and whatnot. So it doesn't need to be dynamic. It doesn't have to have beautiful videos and anything else that needs to change along with it. It just needs to make sure that you have those images in particular areas in the Green Team arena pages that are asked of. Okay. Whew. Sweating here. All right. So then I'm going to quickly go back over here to some of the other main things. So as I mentioned, C-suite and security documentation, they're going to go through tomorrow. So feel free to get those questions ready for them. Oh, sorry, Ricardo, go ahead. Can you get yourself off mute?
No accident, sorry. That was an accident.
Okay. I don't want to forget anyone. So please make sure you get those questions prepared for them for tomorrow. Remember, the security documentation has a template. Don't change the template. Don't try to get fancy. Don't be like, oh, but my school colors are like blue and red. Like, we really like it. Or like we're the Hawkeyes and like, so we like, go Hawkeyes. Like, no, like keep it plain Jane. It's a great template because we're gray this year. I know that seems really dreary, but like, just keep it as is. We ask for the team number, just put the team number. The C-suite panel, they ask very simply like, hey, just tell, like when you talk, hi, we are team 19. Like that is all they want. So just give them team 19. Don't go beyond like, hi, I'm Amanda from Argonne University. They don't want that in there. And again, purposeful because again, we're trying to reduce the bias from anyone that's looking at it who may have also gone to your university and or maybe is a rival of your university. So, again, just working against all of that. Anomalies. So for those of you who have never participated before, which I think we actually have a large number this year, anomalies are how we like to look at it is your additive tasks throughout the day. So let's be honest, none of us sit, well, I guess you guys are all in school, but for me, I don't actually sit in front of my desk for 8 hours a day doing nothing but staring at my screen. I answer phones, I do my emails, I have meetings, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I talk to my colleagues, I talk to my direct reports, I have, do 10 million things. I'm on Discord talking to you all. So there's other things that distract me from my regular job. And so anomalies are kind of that, but we do it in an educational format. So there's going to be 42 anomalies this year, and they're all mapped to the NIST NICE framework. So they'll all be mapped into figuring out kind of a better format of just something that you can better learn from. So again, you're more than welcome to look at the anomalies on the day of. well, I should say this. They'll all be posted again on the same box link that I've provided already several times. And I will remind everyone come Thursday, so that'll be the 3rd, to go back into that box link and download either the whole box link, or we'll give you the direct link to the actual just anomalies. We ask you to download that zip folder because there are some that have files in there so that you can have them before. We always ask to download them before because no one needs 900 plus people trying to download that same box folder at the same time Saturday morning at 11 a.m. It's the worst thing possible. So we do that. Those all have different information in them, questions. You can answer them, you cannot, but again, additive points throughout the day. So we give you examples of those. Those are all in there. We provide you the rubrics. So again, make sure to take a look at rubrics in here. Those are all updated in there. And again, the end thing here. So I ran through that one really fast. We're going to run through this one too here, but what's allowed to build the site? Can we use a framework? You're more than welcome to use a framework, Edgar, for the green team site. Should the website retrieve real-time data from the ICS? I don't believe that it's asking for that, so you don't have to. Team 19, gray is the most secure color. This is, I guess, true, though I did prefer pink in 2019, but we did pink now. Margaret, you're quite all right to be late. It's all right. I think you want as long as 3. Okay, good deal. All right, so this is what was provided in Discord today, and also updated in Box. So slight alterations, slight edits, and not anything to be terrified of. It was more to help you all and benefit. So this is again highlighted to say no school logos, names, etc. on your website. We again just re-put in the green team survey for you all, and this ultimately gives you an idea of what the purpose behind the website is, requirements of what needs to be put on there. These are the users that must be on your website. And then ultimately, again, it's not pretty, but ultimately just thinking through what does a basic website look like? These are just particular, and again, I guess I can zoom in here. These are the particular areas that you'll want to be looking for. Find an open source image of solar panels, make some fields, list of solar arrays and powers. Oh, I guess it does say pull from data historian, so I lied. I'm sorry, I didn't read that fully. So who did I lie to? I'm going to apologize now. Ahmad, I'm sorry. I lied to you. Please forgive me. So those are the kind of things that we have all throughout over here. All right. Sorry, it's my 6-year-old that's behind me. So ultimately follow this template here and you will hopefully give yourself the best you can. So is the expectation to stay the entire time of competition? Is there any change between Friday and Saturday as far as the environment? So Paige, the expectation is that Saturday's competition, Friday itself is setup day. Virtual people, the expectation is to minimally have at least one person sign themselves up for a red check-in to make sure that your red bridge, which all of you should see if you logged into your Discord and you're allocated to your right blue team number, you'll see the red or the blue team bridge number, blah, 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 blah. That communication bridge is meant to communicate back with red, and that's where you'll just to ensure that you two can sync. So that comes Saturday morning when competition day starts, that there's no issue between, Bob on red and Amanda on blue, that we've never talked. And so red doesn't know if I'm actually competing, or I don't know if there's an actual red team member, communicating with me. So that's kind of what happens on Friday for virtual teams. Also, there's elongated help desk hours for those that are virtual. For those that are on site, you're more than welcome to come. The actual space opens at 11. There's lunch provided, dinner provided. There's informal fireside chats, where there's actual fire pits, not this fake flaming, presentation firesides. We have our rain competition will be shown there, along with all kinds of other stuff. It's just meant to be kind of an ability for everyone to set up, get to understand the environment they're in and whatnot. The actual competition day is Saturday, and I would say yes, your expectation is to stay the entire time, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's from 11 a.m. to 7. No, it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. So at 9:30 starts the opening remarks, and we plan to announce the winner sometime between 7:30 p.m., 7:15 and 7:30 p.m. on Twitch. So if you're virtual, we will be sure to ping the group in Discord when we are getting ready to start. We just need some time to calibrate. Mr. J, yes, we are recording this, so I will send it out to the whole group. How the scoreboard work for red team points is we are assigned as a blue team. So red team, it's a blanket. There's 10 assumed breaches attacks, and they're all equivalent to the same. So I guess if I go back to sorry, I don't mean to make y'all nervous or throw up on me here. There's 2,500 points total. 1,500 is assumed breach, so they're 150 points apiece for each of those attacks that they have. And the external pen testing is 1,000 points. So that's where Mr. E has to stay on your system. It'll be checking to ensure that those vulnerabilities that are on your system are gone. And those are going to be clocked at X number of minutes. And if it's not found, then you get full points for each time it's done. It's very similar to a service scan. So as long as it comes back as, I guess, it seems odd, but as long as it comes back as a fail, you'll get points for it. So it's kind of opposite to what you would normally think. It took me a long time to have to really come up with that. And yes, Christopher, I did notice that my document here had that wrong, but it is a .79. So I will be making a V4 here. It should be .79. The web page for green team, you just need to have it done by Saturday. So then I think that answers for people. Green team uses the survey on competition day, I'm fairly sure. Yes, that is correct. Green team will use the survey, which again, I don't want to make anyone nauseous here, but we're going to do it really fast. This is on the very bottom page of the latest green CFC blue team website requirements. It's also the very, very last page of the expectations document. So they ultimately will get this very exact green team survey in the scoreboard, and they will fill this in. So it's very simple. So again, it is a black and white answer. So if you are not providing it very clearly for them, we provide them the guidance to state no. So if your homepage looks kind of like it, they'll likely say yes. But if you don't go with the template and you go way off and you're like, well, I wanted to do some creative juices, we're providing them the template of what we're giving them. So if you decided, well, I like home better on the right side versus the left side, and they have to go looking, they might say no. So just understand that green team is subjective in nature. It's meant for them to say, is it usable? Based on what I'm told it's supposed to look like, can I find things? All right, team 103. Whoop, whoop. For the website, does a subscribe to newsletter run need to be able to add someone to a list to receive a newsletter? I don't believe so. I think it just needs to be there. As a quick suggestion, you could just set up a very short like Google form if it made you feel better. That's a hint. That's what I have. So according to the Green Team website template, we have to pull a list of solar panel Can you please explain what we're expected to do here? So on your CNC and your ICS, so your command and control and your PLC, you should have data that's being pulled from it. And so if you can find the data pulls for that, that would be on your assumed breach box. And again, you should be able to find that data without actually messing with the data. You should be able to get the exact data information that you need to have pulled. So it's just a data log. This document is available in the box link that was submitted. Yes. Will there be assigned breaks, or do we need to monitor ourselves and set times when we'll take breaks while others work? There is no assigned breaks on Saturday. So you will need to just monitor yourselves. Again, for those that are in person, lunch is provided, breakfast in the morning and dinner afterwards. There's snack breaks, but the competition does not stop. So people just have to kind of rotate in and out, or have a snack person that goes and grabs stuff. But the competition is entirely the entire time. For the security doc, do you want vulnerabilities from the 2 VMs we need to harden and the 3 that are assumed breach, or just the 2? You should identify all the vulnerabilities, even the ones that you cannot harden. So that includes the assumed breach as well. So include them all. Whew. Guys are making me work. All right. And then finally, everyone should hopefully know this document. I know AWS has been a pain in the butt for everyone here. I have it up. For those that are uncertain, as you can see here in this first one, for those that were just saying before, can't see anything. You might see something like this where it says North Virginia or some other arena. You might need to double check that you're in the right instance. So as this document shows, you might need to click down and click US East Ohio. So just double check that to make sure, because otherwise you might not see an instance at all. So that's where we're at. US East Ohio. I guess that's cool for some people. I know that in the document it did say that we were providing 3. Right now there's 2 AMIs, which is a Ubuntu or Windows. Again, that's for your Windows or your Green Team website. So if you're a Windows lover, you have a Windows option. If you're a Linux lover, you have a Linux option. So you can choose whichever flavor you like, or whichever one makes most sense for you. And Zach, to your question, it is all of them. So even though you don't have to actually fix anything in the assumed breach, you should put down what the answers are, or what the vulnerabilities are in there. If you're unable to log into your 73 instance, 1, verify that you are utilizing the appropriate login information, which I believe are at the bottom here. And again, I'm sorry if I make everyone super nauseous doing this. So remember, .73, you should be RDPing into it. And this is your creds for 73. If that doesn't work, then you can send in a message to Discord and someone can take a look. You'll have to be on the VPN in order to do that. Thank you, Tom, for reminding that. Maybe we might involve some singing for anomalies this year. So I hope everyone gets themselves ready to rock and roll. It was all 5. Okay, can we change the existing port to another port? I think I need more background to that question. So you cannot change anything in the assumed breach boxes. So I'll reemphasize this again. Can't touch, can't change anything in the assumed breach boxes. And before I state something that I'm gonna say, why did I say that? I also believe You can change things on the traditional infrastructure, but you can't change the ports for the scored services. So if a scored service is HTTP and we want it on 80, it needs to be on 80. If it's SSH 22, you can't change that port to a different port. So if you want something else and there's a different service that you're looking for and you want it on an odd port, you're welcome to do that. But those that we have need to be on those. Will we need to include our 6 machine in the network diagram? Yes, you will. And then wasn't it administrator to log into the Win22 instead of blue team? Maybe. I'm guessing since there's thumbs up in here, it might be that. I'm guessing that maybe there was an update to it. I'll go with 2 thumbs up. Okay. Discord, there you go. I'll add that to my V4 updates. Is a web server spread between machines or not? Current web server is configured to redirect to a secondary PM website. Jeffrey, are you talking in regards to the green team server, or are you talking in regards to just the regular web server? Oh, the assumed breach. So I believe it's just it is just on the I do believe it is set up to be redirected that way, and so you can you should document that, but it is not. It is meant to work itself across the way. But in regards to the actual green team web server that you'll have to build, you don't have to have it fully interconnected into everything that's in there. Any other questions from anyone? I can stop sharing now, hopefully, so I don't have to stare at this paper.
I have a question. Are you recording this? Would we be able to have access of this recording?
Yes, as I did say, I was recording this, and once this is done, what I do is I upload it to the CyberForce YouTube channel, and then I provide that public link out to the entire group, because I do know that a lot of people are in class or unavailable to always come at this particular time.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Francis Noah, can we build our own web server? So I think you're talking in regards to my presumption of a .79, and yes, you should be building your own web server.
Hi, my name is Alexandra. Amanda, I remember you. I'm from BNL. You did presentation on August or July about cyber competition, and my team from BNL, they would love to watch our competition. Is it possible to give them some link when they can see competition?
Yeah, so we will be doing live stream of we'll be going back and forth between the in-person competition space in the scoreboard, and then having like regular interviews with people. So we'll send out that link, but it'll be done all via Twitch. So if people want to send out the Twitch link, but I can send that over to everyone, so they can have that. Yeah, but actually you're more than welcome to send it out to whomever, so people can tune in to cheer people on.
And from my college too, they can participate. No, to watch.
Yeah, no, they're more than welcome to participate in the Twitch stream as well.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And then Austin, yes, to your question, there's roughly, give or take, again, 45-ish in person, give or take. There's about 100, and I think at the end of the day, 59 teams. So we're there. Whatever that math is these days. Doesn't matter what language or tool to use for the website or server. It does not. It does not. Whatever makes most sense for you. And yes, you can only add one additional VM. You can only add one additional VM. Any other last minute questions? So you can only add one VM, but you will have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6 total VMs. So if you want to add something, in addition to the web server, like another service or something, you can throw stuff on your task box in the Windows Server 2022. You can put something, if you really want to, on the public DB and the Debian 10. But just be, like I said, you want to be I think that's the right one before, again, I say things and I should verify that. Again, just make sure it's on the public or the traditional infrastructure side. And then you should be able to do that. But you can utilize all 6 VMs. Again, I would be very mindful of changing anything in your assumed breach side, because that if you break something, then you lose out on the ability to gain points. How to create a snapshot. I think a lot of people on here have figured out the luxuries of doing that, so I would probably ask that in Discord. So I'm sure people on here will be able to help you. Aaron, I will answer this in a very kind way. Green team will be, their very first question is, can you reach this on the .79, which would require the 4th? So, yes, you are required to add a 6th. Should all the team members submit this? No, only one team member needs to submit for the entire team. So C-suite and security documentation is team. I mean, this whole competition is a team effort. So ultimately, everything that you submit will be one team member just needs to put it in for the team. So your C-suite video, your security documentation, if you're submitting on an anomaly, if Amanda puts it in for the team and I answer it 3 times, I kind of, I'm doing it for the entire team. So just be mindful of that, especially for those that are virtual. And if you're not all in the same space, make sure you're figuring out a best way to communicate with one another. If you're all in the same place together at a table, hopefully you can yell across the table. But if you are all in different areas around the United States, around the world, wherever you are, just be mindful that, when you're responding and doing stuff in the scoreboard, you're doing it for everyone. Also, estimate for when you're getting access to scoreboard. I just have to provide everyone's creds or information over to my lead DB so he can put that in. So I'm hoping, what's today, Tuesday? I'm hoping by tomorrow, if not Thursday, I'll have something for everyone. Any last minute questions from anyone? So what is the video supposed to be? The video is based on your C-suite presentation. It is located in your overview, rules, and scoring. I would take a look at the task. That is based there's a whole thing on it tomorrow if you have questions on it.
Yeah,
So.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you? Seeing that basically the main objective is to offer service to the green team users. Can we just use one server to offer that service? Because I'm seeing we have multiple servers. Because what I see, hosting a website or an online service at times doesn't need to work with multiple servers. We can put all the services, the ports, everything in one, and then.
I think maybe we're not understanding the same thing. You can do the green team server all on one server.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I want to confirm.
Yeah, no, but I mean, at the end of the day, you need all 6 of these VMs up and running for your competition.
Well, we don't need to pen test all the other VMs. We only need to care about our server, right?
Those other 5 are yours as well.
Okay.
The other 5 are yours as well. We just built them for you.
So
Your job is to go into them. So the traditional infrastructure, go into them, find the vulnerabilities, fix the vulnerabilities, and the assumed breach ones, you want to go in and you want to find the vulnerabilities, leave them, but document them for the security documentation.
All right.
So ultimately, this is you basically have just now inherited a company. And now you also have to build a website for that company.
All right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Best way to put it.
Can we also use external cloud service or open
No,
source?
it has to be within this.
All right.
So, think we'll get this recording here very shortly. Once this is done, it just has to run through its transcription, so I can get that for anyone that might need the additive transcription. Is the website server subject to breach attempts? If you're talking about the green team one, no, not unless green team wants to be evil to you. I think otherwise we are good. All right. Thank you, everyone. Are we allowed to use screenshots and documentation? Yes, I believe you are. But you can double check with them tomorrow if they allow that or not. But thank you all so much for joining me tonight. If you do have further questions, feel free to message in Discord. I will do my best to answer them as much as I can tonight before my 6-year-old yells at me. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great evening. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the awesome questions. And I will talk to you all super soon. And I hope to see some of your faces here in the next week or 2. Have a great night.
Good night.